Hi, it's Inauguration Day, January 2021. I don't have the capacity to answer all of the emails that and messages that I'm currently getting from those of you who have people in your lives who are QAnon believers and all of the many concerns that so many of you have had. So here on this day where there's a lot of cognitive dissonance happening for those who have immersed themselves in the world of QAnon, I wanted to just give you some brief things that you can potentially try to do right now with these people in your lives that you love and you care about and would love to have back in your lives. Firstly, I would urge you to really do the work of considering what your personal boundaries are. What are the things that you will or will not allow in conversation? It's compassionate to have boundaries. So if you don't want to hear anti-Semitic or racist things, then that boundary needs to be clearly communicated. Another potential boundary would be to ask the person to frame things that that you know are untrue as their beliefs. So, for example, if they say something like, "We all know the election was stolen," say, "Hey, can you please frame that as you believe that the election was stolen?" That's just one example of a potential set of boundaries that you can have. Every single one of us will have a different set of boundaries in what we can and cannot endure in conversation with people. If someone crosses your boundaries multiple times when you've requested that they don't, then follow through with the consequences that you laid out when you set those boundaries. Disengage from the conversation, stop talking to them, or whatever the boundary was that you set. Next, have conversations. Reach out to those people in your lives, especially now, especially today, especially this week, especially over the next, several weeks and months. Just continue to check in on them. Say, how are you doing? What's going on? Whenever possible, try to steer the conversation towards something that is not Q related, after they process. Another thing that's really hard is to try to listen more than you speak. Try to listen to where they're at. Again, enforcing boundaries that you've set, but try to listen. Try to just be there for them. Try to just hear what they're saying and make room for holding space for them to feel the feelings that they're feeling. One of the steps of healing and beginning to walk away is to actually begin to feel feelings that up to this point were sublimated through the belief system that they've been immersing themselves in. Create a safe place for the expression of feelings. Focusing on the feelings rather than on the belief system. The second thing is to try to engage in activities and things that have nothing to do with their belief system or with politics. Would you like to go for a walk? Hey, I'm running some food to the food bank. Would you like to go with me? I'm about to try to work on my garden here over the winter to get it prepped for springtime. I'd love if you'd come to join me. Things that that are part of the day-to-day life that they've likely been missing out on, that desperately right now they need some connection and need to feel like there is in fact a path back for them. Number 3, it's a process that just like most of the people who have immersed themselves in the QAnon world, that took place over weeks, months, and sometimes even years. The journey out of this and reconnecting with life on the outside of this is also a process. Try to keep in mind that their belief system was meeting, or at least offered the illusion of meeting, a need set that they have. That mostly we find that people who are part of hate or violence-based worldviews have a very broken and twisted need set where they don't feel seen, they don't feel heard, they don't feel like they had a meaningful connection to something greater than themselves, that they don't have access to things that help them feel empowered in their lives. Now, obviously, those needs are much more holistically and truly met outside of destructive worldviews and communities, but to just dismiss what they were doing as idiocy or stupidity or whatever, like, is a serious misstep. Even if you believe that to be true, that it was something that was of value to them and that they were utilizing in order to try to get a need set that meant that they didn't feel like they could get met anywhere else. I would also urge you to recognize that the dynamics of your own family and your own relationship with this person. Sometimes we have relationships that are actually harmful to people, or have unresolved hurts and wounds and stuff that we maybe haven't really recognized. So search yourself for any work that that you might have to do in order to create a sense of safety for that person to disengage. I also want to say that this is our responsibility. That this is not the empathy and compassion and the off-ramping and creating spaces for these people to come back is not the responsibility of the targets and victims of their beliefs, of the communities of which they are a part, and of their actions. That this is our responsibility as people in their lives who love them and care about them. That this is not work for us to just put off on someone else, hoping, someone else can potentially reach them. Thank you so much for your courage, for loving the people in your life and being concerned about them and wanting things that are so much better for them than what they've had the last several years. Be well, have courage, maintain hope, and know if from nothing else from my life that fundamental transformation is absolutely possible.